Admiral Daniel Carter stood at the viewport of the Artemis orbital station, watching Earth rotate slowly beneath him. 5 years had passed since the day alien ships appeared in Earth's orbit, bringing news that humanity was not alone. 5 years since the representatives of the Galactic Council extended their hands, or in some cases, tentacles, in what they called friendship. 5 years of disappointment. Daniel sighed as he turned away from the view and walked back to his desk. The latest reports from the outer solar system surveillance drones showed yet another Council monitoring post being established near Neptune. That made 17 Council installations in Sol space now, all supposedly for peaceful observation and cultural exchange. Nobody believed that anymore. His communication panel chimed. "Admiral, Dr. Martinez is here for your meeting. Send her in." Olivia Martinez entered his office with her usual quick stride. Despite the late hour, she looked alert, her eyes bright with what Daniel recognized as scientific excitement. "You found something," he said. It wasn't a question. "Yes, but we need privacy." Olivia glanced meaningfully at the ceiling. Daniel pressed a button on his desk. A soft hum filled the room as the counter-surveillance system activated. The Council might have eyes everywhere, but human ingenuity still had a few tricks they hadn't discovered. "We're clear. What have you got?" Olivia placed a small device on his desk. It projected a hologram showing complex equations and diagrams. "My team has developed a propulsion theory that doesn't rely on the standard mass effect principles the Council uses. If we're right, we could achieve faster-than-light travel without their approved technology." Daniel leaned forward. "You're sure? This isn't just theoretical." "We ran the first physical test yesterday. Small scale, of course, but the particles did exactly what our equations predicted." She smiled. "The Council monitors all known forms of FTL research, but they don't know about this approach because they've never discovered it themselves." "How long until a working prototype?" 2 years, maybe 3 if we're careful not to attract attention." Daniel nodded slowly. Hope was dangerous these days, but he allowed himself to feel it anyway. "Keep this absolutely secret. Use only your most trusted people." Across the solar system, on the majestic ring world that served as the Galactic Council's capital, Representative Zixel addressed the Security Committee. "The humans continue to expand their military capabilities despite our restrictions," the tall, gray-skinned alien said, gesturing to a holographic display showing Earth's orbital defenses. "They claim these are merely protective measures, but the pattern suggests preparation for conflict." Another Council member, the 4-armed Durrani delegate, waved a dismissive hand. "All probationary species build defenses when they first join galactic society. It's natural paranoia." "Perhaps," Zixel conceded, "but humans advance at an alarming rate. In the mere 5 years since contact, they've already reverse-engineered 3 technologies we provided in limited form. Their adaptability makes them dangerous." "What do you suggest?" asked the chairperson. "Stricter containment. Additional monitoring. We should consider removing certain technological privileges until they demonstrate proper respect for Council authority." After the meeting, Zixel walked through the grand halls of the Council Palace, satisfied with the outcome. The committee had approved his recommendations. Soon, the humans would find their already limited freedoms further restricted. His aide approached with a data tablet. "Representative, we've detected unusual energy readings from a research facility on the human moon. Specifics: unknown, but the patterns don't match any approved research projects." Zixel's mouth formed the tight line that passed for a smile among his species. "Increased surveillance on that facility. If they're violating technology restrictions, we'll have cause for intervention." Back on the Artemis station, Daniel Carter made a decision. After Olivia left, he opened a secure channel to President Gregory Simmons. "Mr. President, we need to talk about contingency plans. If the Council decides to tighten their grip further." "You think it's coming to that?" Daniel looked out at Earth again, beautiful and fragile. "Yes, sir. And when it does, we need options beyond diplomacy. What are you suggesting, Admiral? Sir, I think we need to prepare for the possibility that humanity might need to leave. 3 years passed. William Hayes wiped sweat from his forehead as he guided the drilling rig deeper into Europa's ice. The Jupiter moon's surface was negative 260 degrees Fahrenheit, but inside the pressurized mining dome, the equipment made everything hot and stuffy. How much deeper, boss? Asked Lewis, his assistant operator. Another 50 meters. The scanners picked up something dense down there. Might be a new mineral deposit. William didn't mention his real suspicions. The readings were too regular, too structured to be natural. After working Europa for 2 years, he knew the difference between random mineral formations and something else. The drill bit suddenly dropped, meeting no resistance. We hit a cavity, William said, checking his instruments. A big one. 6 hours later, William stood in an artificial chamber buried 300 meters beneath Europa's ice. His team's lights revealed smooth metallic walls covered in strange symbols. This was no natural formation. We need to report this to Earth, said Lewis, his voice trembling with excitement. William shook his head. Council regulations say any alien technology must be reported to them first. But he walked to what appeared to be a control panel. Let's see what we're dealing with before making any calls. When he touched the panel, it lit up with glowing symbols. A humming sound filled the chamber, and a holographic display appeared, showing star maps and strange diagrams. It's activating, someone shouted. William couldn't understand the symbols, but he recognized the solar system displayed in the hologram. A pulsing light marked Europa, and energy signatures began radiating outward from their position. I think it just sent a signal, William said quietly. On Earth, Samantha Bell stared at her monitor in NASA's Deep Space Tracking Facility. A strange transmission had triggered her detection algorithms, originating from Europa, but unlike anything in their database. She reached for her phone. This needed higher clearance. 2 hours later, Samantha sat across from Dr. Olivia Martinez, explaining what she'd detected. The pattern doesn't match any known communication protocol, human or council, Samantha said. But it's definitely artificial and extremely powerful. Whatever sent it wasn't trying to hide. Olivia studied the transmission patterns carefully. These frequency modulations, she murmured. They're similar to theoretical models we've been working with in the FTL project. You think there's a connection? I think someone built technology based on the same principles we're just now discovering. Someone who came before the Council. Across the solar system, Council observer Krenthar received an automated alert. His monitoring station near Jupiter had detected an unauthorized energy surge from Europa. He immediately transmitted the data to Council headquarters. Within hours, the Galactic Council called an emergency session. Representative Zixel addressed the assembled delegates. The humans have activated predecessor technology. This cannot be permitted. The chairperson's voice was grave. Are you certain it's predecessor origin? The energy signature is unmistakable. The humans have found what we've hidden from them. They may not understand what they've discovered, another delegate suggested. Zixel's expression hardened. It doesn't matter. The danger is the same. I propose immediate intervention, a scientific expedition to secure the site. The Council voted, and the motion passed. Warships disguised as research vessels were dispatched to Europa immediately. Admiral Daniel Carter was in a meeting with President Simmons when the alert came through. Council vessels approaching Jupiter, sir. A lot of them. The President looked grim. They're moving faster than usual. Something's happened. Daniel's secure communicator beeped. A message from Olivia Martinez about an incredible discovery on Europa and a mysterious transmission. He understood immediately. Mr. President, the Council is making a move for something our people found on Europa. Something important enough that they're not even trying to be subtle anymore. President Simmons straightened in his chair. Then it's time to implement the contingency plans we discussed. How ready is the fleet? 80% operational. Not ideal, but enough to make a statement. Deploy them to Jupiter. Don't fire unless fired upon, but make it clear that Europa is human territory. As Daniel left to issue the orders, he knew they had just crossed a line. After 8 years of uneasy peace with the Galactic Council, humanity was about to make its first real stand. The Exodus clock had started ticking. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council hummed with tense voices. Representatives from 17 advanced species sat in rising tiers, their attention focused on the central speaking platform. Representative Zixel stood there, his gray skin flushed with dark blue, a sign of excitement among his people. The humans must be contained immediately, Zixel said. They have discovered predecessor technology that could upset the balance of power throughout Council space. His words caused a stir among the gathered delegates. The predecessors were rarely discussed openly. Representative Newell of the Elteri rose to speak. Unlike Zixel's tall, thin form, Newell was short with iridescent scales that shimmered in the chamber's light. My fellow council members, I urge caution, Newell said. Humans have shown remarkable adaptability. Perhaps we should consider cooperation rather than confrontation. Zixel made a dismissive gesture. Your species has always been too sympathetic to younger races. Need I remind the Council that humans advanced from primitive flight to rudimentary space travel in less than 1 century? Given access to predecessor technology, they could become a serious threat within a decade. The Council chairperson called for order as arguments broke out across the chamber. Some representatives agreed with Zixel, viewing humans as dangerous upstarts. Others sided with Newell, seeing potential in human creativity and adaptability. A few remained silent, calculating how they might exploit the situation for their own species' advantage. We will vote, the chairperson announced. The motion is to send a peacekeeping force to the Sol system with authorization to secure the predecessor site and enforce technology restrictions. The vote was close, but Zixel's faction won. The Council would move against Earth. On Earth, President Eleanor Wright stood before the United Nations General Assembly. The chamber was packed, with delegates from every nation and billions watching via global broadcast. For 8 years, she said, we have played by the Council's rules. We accepted our status as a probationary species. We followed their restrictions. We trusted their promises of eventual full membership. She paused, looking at the faces around her. Today, I must tell you that our trust was misplaced. Gasps and murmurs filled the room as President Wright revealed classified reports showing the Council's true intentions: permanent restrictions on human development, controlled access to space, and the gradual mining of Earth's resources for Council benefit. We face a choice, she continued. Accept permanent second-class status in the galaxy, or forge our own path. She took a deep breath. Today, I am announcing Project Exodus. If diplomacy fails, humanity will seek its own destiny among the stars, with or without Council approval. The assembly erupted in a mixture of shock, fear, and determined applause. Meanwhile, in a secure laboratory beneath Geneva, Dr. Olivia Martinez worked frantically. Data recovered from the Europa facility scrolled across her screens. William Hayes and Samantha Bell stood nearby, watching as she pieced together the puzzle. It's incredible, Olivia said, her eyes wide with wonder. The predecessors didn't just have advanced technology, they had an entirely different approach to physics. Can you understand it? William asked. Enough to see how it connects to my research. She pointed to a complex diagram. This is a blueprint for a dimensional gateway system. Not just faster than light travel, but a way to move between dimensional planes entirely. Samantha leaned closer. Could this get us beyond Council space? Better, Olivia said. It could take us somewhere the Council has never been. A region of space they can't reach with their current technology. How long to build it? William asked. Olivia considered the question. With the resources of multiple nations and working in secret, maybe 2 years. But we'd need a massive power source and materials the Council restricts. The President is already working on that, Samantha said. Project Exodus isn't just a speech, it's already in motion. Above Earth, Council observation satellites tracked unusual movements of resources and personnel. Something big was happening, but the Council observers couldn't determine what. The humans had learned to shield their most important activities from prying eyes. The race had begun, humanity working to escape while the Council moved to contain them. The question was no longer if conflict would come, but when. Admiral Daniel Carter floated in zero gravity, inspecting the massive ship under construction. Hidden within a hollowed-out asteroid in the belt between Mars and Jupiter, the vessel was just one of 12 being built in secret. Each would carry 50,000 humans away from Earth when the time came. Impressive work, Daniel said to the chief engineer beside him. "We're ahead of schedule on this one," she replied. The materials from the Kuiper Belt mining operation arrived early. Daniel nodded. Getting those resources without Council detection had been a masterpiece of planning. Teams of small, stealthy ships had been harvesting ice and rare metals from the outer solar system for months, using minimal power signatures to avoid detection. "How many people know about this facility now?" Daniel asked. "Less than 300. Everyone here is completely off the grid. As far as the world knows, we're all working on deep space habitats for Mars colonization." Daniel checked his watch. "I need to get back. Keep up the good work." As his shuttle departed the asteroid, Daniel reviewed the latest intelligence report. Council spy drones had been detected near Neptune, probably tracking the mining operations. Time was running short. On Nexus Prime, Representative Zixel studied images captured by those very drones. "The humans are moving significant resources," he told his advisors. "Their official claim of expanded Mars colonization doesn't explain the scale of these operations. They may suspect we're monitoring them," one advisor suggested. "Of course they do," Zixel snapped. "But they don't know how closely." He tapped a control, bringing up new images. "These energy signatures suggest large-scale construction, but we can't determine what they're building. Should we demand inspections?" Zixel considered this. "Not yet. Let them think we're unaware. But step up surveillance and prepare the peacekeeping fleet. When the time comes, we'll need to move quickly." Back on Earth, President Wright met with the Security Council in a room swept clean of all surveillance devices. "The Council is getting suspicious," she told the gathered leaders. "We need to buy more time." The Russian president spoke up. "My country's space program has prepared a very visible Mars mission. It should draw attention away from the asteroid belt activities." "Good. And the European Union will announce a new space telescope project next week," another leader added. "It will keep Council observers focused on lunar operations." President Wright nodded. "Every day we gain is critical. Dr. Martinez, how is your work progressing?" Olivia looked tired but determined. "We've successfully integrated the predecessor dimensional technology with our own FTL research. The prototype is operational in our Mars facility." "And the gateway?" Wright asked. "The main components are being assembled in 6 separate locations to avoid detection. Final assembly will take place on the Exodus ships themselves." On Europa, William Hayes had been promoted to head of security for the research team studying the predecessor facility. He watched as scientists carefully documented every aspect of the ancient technology. "We've decoded more of their language," Samantha Bell told him, pointing to a holographic display. "Look at this." The display showed a star map with a highlighted region far from the solar system. "The predecessors marked this area as suitable for habitation," Samantha explained, "and it's completely outside Council space. They either didn't find it or chose not to explore it." William studied the map. "How far?" "With conventional Council FTL drives, about 300 years of travel. With the gateway technology," she smiled. "Instantaneous." "A new home," William said softly. Samantha nodded. "But there's more. We found references to why the predecessors left this part of the galaxy. They were running from something. A threat even they couldn't handle. They left warnings." Does Dr. Martinez know about this? I sent the data this morning. She's analyzing it now. Above Mars, a Council spy satellite quietly recorded energy fluctuations from a supposedly abandoned research station. The brief dimensional ripple lasted only microseconds, but the satellite's sensitive instruments detected it. The data was automatically transmitted to Council space, where it would eventually reach Zixel. The countdown to confrontation had begun. President Eleanor Wright was working late in the Oval Office when her secure communication panel lit up with an urgent message. The light was blue, the color reserved for communications from Council space. She pressed the accept button, and a hologram appeared. It showed Representative Newell of the Alteri, the moderate council member who had spoken in humanity's defense. "Madam President, I have little time," Newell said, voice low. "You must know that the Council has authorized a peacekeeping force to enter your system. In truth, it is an occupation fleet." Eleanor's heart raced, but she kept her expression calm. "When?" "They depart tomorrow. Arrival in your system in approximately 2 Earth weeks." Newell glanced over a scaled shoulder. "I risk much by telling you this, but I believe the Council's treatment of humanity is unjust." "Why help us?" Eleanor asked. "Not all species agree with Zixel's faction. Some of us believe in genuine cooperation." Newell held up a data crystal. "This contains classified Council navigation data and defense codes. May it help your people." The transmission ended abruptly. Eleanor immediately called an emergency meeting. 2 hours later, Admiral Carter stood before the President and the Joint Chiefs of Staff. "We need to accelerate the Exodus timeline," Daniel said. "If Newell is correct, we have 2 weeks before Council warships arrive. Can we be ready?" Eleanor asked. "It will be tight. The ships are structurally complete, but we're still loading supplies and finishing the gateway systems." He took a deep breath. "We'll need to start moving people to the departure points immediately. How many can we take?" Daniel's face was grim. "Maybe 30% of the global population. We've been prioritizing families with children, key scientists, and people with skills needed for colony establishment." The room fell silent as the reality sank in. Billions would have to stay behind. On Mars, Dr. Olivia Martinez supervised the final test of the prototype gateway. The device hummed as energy built up, creating a swirling portal of blue light. "Send through the probe," she ordered. A small drone flew into the portal and vanished. Seconds later, data began streaming back. The probe had emerged at the designated coordinates, 20 light-years away. "It works," one of her assistants exclaimed. "The energy signature is too strong," Olivia replied. "Council sensors will detect it if we're not careful. Shut it down and prepare for transport to the Exodus ships." As they powered down the device, a technician approached Olivia. "Dr. Martinez, we're receiving a priority message from Admiral Carter. Timeline has been accelerated. We need to move now." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden preparations shifted into high gear. Millions of selected citizens received coded messages directing them to gathering points. Essential equipment was loaded onto shuttles bound for the Exodus ships. Military forces took up defensive positions, ready to buy time if needed. On Nexus Prime, Zixel was summoned to an emergency council session. "We have detected a dimensional anomaly in the Sol system," the chairperson announced. "The humans have operational predecessor technology." Zixel's skin flushed dark blue. "This confirms my warnings. They must be stopped immediately." "The peacekeeping fleet is already prepared," another member said. "But this new information suggests we should send additional ships." "I will lead the mission personally," Zixel declared. "As of now, I request emergency powers as overseer for the Sol system." The council voted, granting his request. Zixel left immediately to board his command ship. In his private chamber aboard the massive vessel, Zixel reviewed the intelligence reports. Something didn't add up. The humans seemed too prepared, too organized, almost as if they knew what was coming. Check for unauthorized communications between Council members and Earth, he ordered his intelligence officer. Someone may have warned them. As Zixel's fleet accelerated toward Earth, Representative Newell was arrested for treason. Under interrogation, the Elteri admitted to contacting President Wright. Zixel received this news with cold satisfaction. Now he had justification for harsher measures against both the humans and his council opponents. Maximum speed to Earth, he commanded. We must arrive before they can complete whatever they're planning. The first council warships appeared at the edge of the solar system. Earth's long-range sensors detected them as they decelerated near Pluto. Admiral Daniel Carter watched the tactical display from his command center on the flagship Liberty, hidden in the asteroid belt. How many? He asked his sensor officer. 23 large vessels, sir. Much more than a standard peacekeeping force. Daniel nodded grimly. They're not here to keep peace. They're here to occupy Earth. He opened a channel to the other ships. All vessels, this is Admiral Carter. Operation Exodus is now active. Move to your designated positions. Across the asteroid belt, massive ships began to emerge from their hiding places. One by one, they activated their engines and moved into formation. These were not warships. They were arcs designed to carry humanity to a new home. On Earth, millions of people boarded transport shuttles bound for the Exodus ships. The operation had been planned for years, with every detail carefully considered. Children clutched small bags containing precious belongings. Parents put on brave faces while saying goodbye to elderly relatives who had chosen to remain behind. In New York, an old man hugged his son one last time. "Take care of my grandchildren," he said, smiling through tears. "Make sure they know about Earth. Dad, please reconsider. There's still room." The old man shook his head. "My life is here. Your future is out there." He pressed a small book into his son's hands. "My journals, so they'll know their history." Similar scenes played out around the world as humanity divided, those leaving and those staying behind. In orbit, Council observation satellites detected the sudden movement of ships from the asteroid belt. The data was immediately relayed to Zixel's approaching fleet. "They're running," Zixel said, studying the images. "Activate all forward units. Stop those ships at any cost." Council vessels already in the solar system changed course to intercept the Exodus fleet. Earth's defense forces moved to block them. President Wright addressed the world one last time from the White House. "Today, some of us leave to ensure humanity's freedom. Some of us stay to protect Earth. Either way, we remain one people." Her voice was steady despite the gravity of the moment. "To those staying, I remain with you. To those leaving, carry Earth in your hearts." The first shots were fired near Mars. A Council cruiser attempted to block the path of an Exodus ship. When it refused to move, Earth's defensive ships opened fire. The battle quickly spread across the solar system. On the Liberty, Daniel received damage reports from the fleet. "We've lost the Defiance and the Horizon," his communications officer reported. "The Intrepid is heavily damaged, but still moving." "What about the civilian ships?" "All proceeding to the gateway coordinates. The first group is almost in position." Daniel looked at the tactical display again. More Council ships were arriving, but they were too late to stop the Exodus. His plan had worked. On the lead civilian ship, Dr. Olivia Martinez made final adjustments to the gateway device. The massive ring-shaped structure pulsed with energy as it prepared to create a portal large enough for ships to pass through. "Power level stable," one of her engineers reported. "Dimensional coordinates locked." Olivia took a deep breath. This was the moment of truth. The technology had never been tested at this scale. "Activate the gateway," she ordered. Energy surged through the device. Space itself seemed to twist and fold as a massive portal opened before the lead ship. Through it, stars in unfamiliar patterns were visible. Their new home. "It's working," someone shouted. Aboard his command ship, Zixel watched in disbelief as the first human vessels approached the swirling portal. "What is that?" he demanded. "Unknown technology, Overseer. Appears to be some form of dimensional gateway. Stop them. Target the lead ships immediately." But it was too late. The first Exodus ship entered the portal and vanished, followed quickly by a second and third. The Council fleet was still too far away to intervene effectively. Daniel watched from the Liberty as ship after ship of civilians passed through to safety. His vessel would be among the last to go, protecting the others until the end. "Sir," his first officer said quietly, "it's time for us to head to the gateway." Daniel nodded. "Take us in." The Liberty turned toward the portal, its hull scarred from battle but its mission nearly complete. Behind them, the solar system erupted in flashes of weapons fire as Earth's defensive fleet fought to buy time for the last Exodus ships to escape. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council was in chaos. Representatives shouted over each other as reports of the human exodus flooded in. The chairperson banged a ceremonial staff against the floor, calling for order. One at a time. The chairperson demanded, "This is still a council meeting." A representative from the Jirani Collective stood. "How did the humans develop this gateway technology without our knowledge? Our monitoring systems should have detected it." Another member rose. "More importantly, where have they gone? If they possess predecessor technology, they could become a threat to council security." At the center of the storm stood Representative Zixel's second-in-command. Zixel himself was still in the Sol system, attempting to contain the situation. "The humans were clearly planning this for years," the second said. "Someone must have helped them hide their activities." All eyes turned to Representative Newell's empty seat. The news of Newell's arrest for treason had spread quickly through council ranks. An elder member of the council, rarely one to speak, rose slowly to her feet. "Perhaps we should ask a different question. Why did the humans feel they needed to leave rather than work with us?" Murmurs spread through the chamber. The question struck at the heart of council policy. The human exodus represents the greatest failure of council diplomacy in 3,000 years. The elder continued, "And I believe responsibility lies with those who advocated for treating them as subjects rather than partners." More shouting erupted as factions formed. Those aligned with Zixel defended the containment policy, while others began to question the wisdom of their approach to younger species. In the Sol system, Zixel's command ship approached Earth. Half of the human exodus ships had already escaped through the gateway, but many remained, protected by Earth's defensive fleet. "Overseer, we're receiving a transmission from the planet," an officer reported. "Put it through," Zixel ordered. President Eleanor Wright appeared on the main screen. Despite the crisis, she appeared calm and dignified. "Representative Zixel, or should I say Overseer, I understand you've come to occupy our world. Your people have violated numerous council regulations," Zixel replied coldly. "The development of unauthorized technology, refusal to submit to inspections, and now this, mass exodus. You leave us no choice but to establish direct control." Eleanor smiled slightly, "And yet many of us have already left your control." The council's grip was too tight, Zixel. "When you squeeze something too hard, it slips through your fingers. Not all of you have escaped. Surrender your remaining ships and disable your defenses." "I have a counter-proposal," Eleanor said. "Those who wish to leave have mostly gone. Those of us who remain propose a new relationship with the Council, one based on mutual respect." Zixel's skin darkened with anger. "You are in no position to negotiate." "Actually, we are. Your fleet is formidable, but our defensive systems would ensure mutual destruction if you attack Earth directly." Her expression hardened. "And there's something else you should know. Representative Newell provided us with extensive information about Council operations, including evidence that your people have been suppressing information about the predecessors for centuries." Zixel froze. This was dangerous information. If spread throughout the Council, it could undermine his species' influence. In the asteroid belt, Admiral Carter's flagship Liberty took heavy damage as it protected the final civilian ships heading for the gateway. Engines at 40%, his engineering officer reported. Hull breaches on decks 3 through 7. Daniel nodded grimly. Just keep us between those council ships and the civilians. The Liberty shuddered as another blast struck. On the bridge, Dr. Olivia Martinez worked frantically to maintain the gateway. The portal is becoming unstable, she warned. We've been keeping it open too long. We need to go through soon, or it might collapse. Daniel looked at the tactical display. Just 3 more civilian ships needed to get through. Hold position, he ordered. We leave when everyone else is safe. The Liberty took another hit, alarms blaring throughout the ship. Hull breach on deck 1. We're venting atmosphere. Daniel gripped his chair as the ship rocked violently. Reroute power to forward shields. We just need a few more minutes. On the screen, he watched as the last civilian ship entered the gateway and vanished. Now only the Liberty remained. All civilian ships clear, his tactical officer confirmed. Then it's our turn, Daniel said. Take us home. The damaged flagship limped toward the swirling portal, its engines straining. Behind them, council ships closed in for the kill. 5 years passed. On a hill overlooking a valley filled with new buildings and farms, Daniel Carter stood watching the sunset. The sky of New Terra was different from Earth, slightly more purple, with 2 small moons already visible. But it was home now. Governor Carter. A voice called from behind him. Daniel turned to see his assistant approaching. He still wasn't used to his new title. The Settlement Council is ready for you, sir. Daniel nodded. I'll be right there. As he walked down the hill toward the main settlement, Daniel marveled at what humanity had accomplished in 5 short years. New Terra was thriving. The Exodus ships had been dismantled to provide materials for the first towns. Farms spread across the fertile valleys. Schools, hospitals, and research centers were operational. Most importantly, people were happy here, free from council restrictions. In the central building, Dr. Olivia Martinez was presenting her latest findings to the Settlement Council. The predecessor technology has applications we're only beginning to understand, she explained, pointing to a holographic display. Their approach to physics allows for innovations that would have taken us centuries to develop on our own. Olivia smiled when Daniel entered. Our new transportation system is ready for testing. Using modified gateway technology, we can connect the settlements instantly, no matter the distance. Any word from the exploration teams? Daniel asked as he took his seat. Team 3 found another predecessor site yesterday, Samantha Bell replied. She had become their chief of exploration. This one appears to be a research facility. William is heading there now to secure it. After the meeting, Daniel and Olivia walked together to the communication center. Every month, they attempted contact with Earth. Do you think we'll hear from them today? Olivia asked. I hope so. It's been 3 months since their last transmission. The technician on duty looked up as they entered. Sir, we're receiving something. It's faint, but it's definitely coming through the quantum relay. The screen flickered, then showed President Eleanor Wright's face. She looked older but healthy. Daniel, Olivia, can you hear me? She asked. We hear you, Madam President. How are things on Earth? Eleanor smiled. Much better than expected. After your departure, the council was thrown into chaos. Zixel was removed from his position when evidence of his deception was presented to the full council. Who's leading the council now? Olivia asked. A coalition led by Newell. They've implemented major reforms, including the abolition of the probationary species classification. Earth now has equal membership status. She paused. They've been asking about you. Daniel frowned. What have you told them? Only that you're safe. The location of New Terra remains secret. She leaned forward. But there's something else you should know. You're not the only ones who left council space. Daniel and Olivia exchanged glances. What do you mean? Daniel asked. Other species used similar technology to escape council control over the centuries. They've formed their own coalition in a region they call the Free Expanse. They've contacted us, asking about humanity. After the call ended, Daniel stood at the window, looking out at the stars. Olivia joined him. "What are you thinking?" she asked. "About everything we've been through, and everything ahead of us." He turned to her. "Other species who left the council. A potential new alliance." "It changes things," Olivia agreed. "We left to be free of the council's control, but we never expected to find others who made the same choice." The next day, Daniel addressed the people of New Terra. Thousands gathered in the central plaza to hear him speak. "We have built something precious here," he said. "A society based on freedom and cooperation. Now we face a new opportunity: contact with other species who share our values." The crowd murmured with excitement. "The council thought they could contain humanity," Daniel continued. "Instead, they pushed us to find our true place in the universe." Later, as Daniel and Olivia watched the construction of a new science center, Olivia said, "We never wanted to leave Earth. If the council had treated us as equals from the beginning." Daniel nodded. "For them, it's too late to mend what was broken. But for us, it's just the beginning." In the night sky above New Terra, stars shone brightly, each one a possibility, a future free from the constraints of the past. Humanity had found its own path among them, and would never be contained again.